The Minish, also known as the Picori, are a race of tiny people that reside in the Kingdom of Hyrule, and who played a crucial role in early events of Hyrule's history. They resemble small human-like mice with pointy ears akin to those of Hylians, and a feather-like tail, wearing simple clothes made of various leaves. When the Kingdom of Hyrule was at its darkest point, with hordes of monsters ravaging the land, the Minish descended from the sky to aid the humans in the struggle, and handed the hero of men a magical sword that came to be known as the Picori Blade, and a golden light known as Force. With these relics in hand, the hero of men vanquished the monsters and sealed them inside the bound chest, using the sacred blade to seal it shut. Before we continue, I'd like to point something out. In the English version of Minish Cap, we are told that the word Minish is the real name of the race, while the name Picori is the name the Hylians give these tiny creatures. However, it is not the case in other countries, most importantly in Japan, where they are only called Picori, with no such distinction. The term Minish and its distinction from Picori was completely made up and into North America. In fact, the Minish Woods aren't named after the Picori as we are told in the English version. Instead, the name being Tyrolia Woods, named after a style of fedora known as the Tyrolean hat, reminiscent of the caps and feathered tails of the Minish themselves. For this reason, I'll refer to the Minish as Picori from now on. Once every 100 years, the gateway between the human and Picori realm, found within Hyrule Castle's courtyard, would open, allowing the Picori to visit the humans of Hyrule. To commemorate the victory of the monsters, the Hylians celebrated the annual Picori festival, in honor of the tiny people who aided them. There were several types of Picori in the world. The forest Picori, who lived in Tyrolia Woods and throughout Hyrule Field. Mounted Picori, who lived in Mount Gongo, Mount Crenel in English, being blacksmiths led by Melari. And the town Picori, who moved from the Picori village to Hyrule Town due to their love for humans. The Picori remain in contact with Hylians, settling in the woods to the south in their tiny Picori village. Using various portals built inside tree stumps, pots and the like, humans and Picori were able to shrink and grow in size to interact with one another. It is said that the Picori were invisible to adults, and that only children could see them. However, this was not entirely true. The reality is that only those with pure hearts were able to see them. Such was the case with the so-called Wind Tribe, a tribe of Hylians who once resided in the Tabantha wilderness, and who mastered the winds. They, with the help of the Picori, built technological wonders such as the Armos and Masal to protect their home in the now cold Wind Ruins. Curiously, Masal's name in Japanese is Oizu, sharing its Japanese name with Eox, the boss of Muto's temple in Phantom Hourglass. When the Wind Tribe fully mastered the winds, they raised themselves and their palace of winds to the sky, and began to live atop the clouds. It is unclear if the Minish that helped them build the armors remained on the surface, or went to the sky with them as well. The Picori were mostly known for spreading joy to the world, by hiding treasures such as rupees and kingstones in grass, pots, and other locations for Hylians and other races to find. This is a clever way to explain why Link finds rupees when cutting grass or breaking objects in many games of the series. As we are told in Spirit Tracks, gratitude and happiness create energy, this energy being force. And since the Picori descended to the world with the sacred golden light known as Force, them spreading joy and happiness would result in them generating more force. The Picori are associated with the clover, more specifically a four-leaved clover, said to be a symbol of good fortune for whomever found one. Their village is built within a patch of clovers, and kingstones, all have a 4-leaved clover etched into them, with the exception of the gold ones. The Picori spoke in a different language to that of humans, which, like their name, differs in different countries, with the English version having them speak using variations of the word Picori, while in Japanese they speak in reverse. However, if someone ate a jabbernut, known in Japanese as a perara fruit, they will be able to understand and communicate with the Picori. While the Picori are benevolent creatures, there was one that became corrupted by the evil in the hearts of men, and his name was Vati. Vati was the apprentice of the Picori elder Eslo, a craftsman who resided in the Picori realm building gifts for the Hylians. One such gift was the Mage's Hat, said to be able to grant wishes when worn. Vati stole the cap from Eslo and, using its magic, transformed himself into a powerful Hylian wizard, cursing Eslo into the form of a talking cap before leaving to the human realm. Vati would search for the force the Picori of old brought to the world in order to absorb it and become unstoppable, and believing it to be inside the bound chest, unaware that the force now resided within the princesses of Hyrule, passed down generation after generation, he freed the monsters from within the chest, shattering the Picori blade in the process. With the help of Eslo, Link, ordered by the king to find the Picori to fix the sword to save his daughter from the curse Vati set upon her, united the 4 elements from each of the 4 temples, and transformed the Picori blade into the mythical 4 sword, a blade capable of splitting the user into 4 identical copies of himself, and with it, he vanquished Vati and rescued Princess Zelda. While we don't see them in other games outside of the Minish Cap, they continue to exist in Hyrule, as well as other kingdoms of the land, as rupees and other treasures continue to appear when cutting grass or pots. And while this is no longer the case in Breath of the Wild, perhaps indicating the Picori are no longer living in the kingdom, early in development, they intended on incorporating a race of tiny beings, even allowing Link to shrink down to interact with them, much like in the Minish Cap. And judging by how they are reusing unused concepts from Breath of the Wild for its sequel, such as Link's hand being used for various abilities, it's possible that these small people, likely being Picori, especially considering Hidemaru Fujibayashi, the director of Breath of the Wild and its sequel, was also the director of the Minish Cap and creator of the Picori. These tiny beings could return in the upcoming game, but we will have to wait and see if the Picori truly return in the sequel. And that was the Picori explained. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of future uploads. Also, consider following me on Twitter and Instagram if you haven't already to stay in touch. This has been Zelda Lore, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.